What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute, but I'm glad to be back. This season, there's no secret that the Blue Jays are going to be heavy buyers at the trade deadline. They set a record at the time of this recording of 44-38. 6 games above 500, 3.5 games out of the division lead. So obviously, they're going to go for it. They're going to try and get some pieces to help them win. And today, we're going to go over what those pieces might be. It's a bit of a process, so stay with me till the end. If you're excited, make sure to like, subscribe, and let's get right into it. I'm going to take you down the path of strategy, okay? So the first thing I did was obviously gather all the selling teams across the league. So the teams I have, the maybe teams, I have the Red Sox and the Royals. The Red Sox already kind of blew up with Rafi Devers. And then the Royals are like trying to be competitive, but they're not really competitive. The obvious selling teams, I have the Orioles, White Sox, Athletics, Braves, Marlins, Nationals, Pirates, Rockies. Those are all pretty obvious, I'd say. The second thing I went and did was found the Blue Jays' position of need. No doubt that we need some help in the starting rotation. Max Scherzer and Eric Lauer are killing it, but who knows what's going to happen with Max Scherzer, and who knows if Eric Lauer is going to start to fall off. So I think they personally need 2 starters to help them with their rotation. And if not, they can be long relievers in the bullpen, which kind of like a Jose Urena and Spencer Turnbull, which is what we tried to do but failed miserably. One more bullpen piece to help with the bullpen, and then a bat, either a power bat or kind of like a leadoff guy, because we don't really have that at the moment, and preferably have them play in the outfield. Most of the time I would have them DH because there's not really a lot of spots for playing time available right now. I'm going to tell you that they need to be an outfielder, because I think 4 out of the 5 players on the active roster that could be traded are outfielders. Here are the names. We got Will Wagner, just called up today, Jonathan Clase, Nathan Lukes, Davis Schneider, and Miles Straw. Nathan Lucas and Miles Straw are helping the team win right now, so I'm a little debatable on those 2. But Schneider, Clase, and Wagner, I feel like they all have a pretty solid chance to go. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to try and trade anyone off the 26-man roster, but if they did, I think those would be the guys. I also debated putting Ernie Clement in there, but I think he's doing way too good right now for us to trade him. The next thing I did was looked at all the selling teams and put players that are on 1-year deals on my list. And then I went to the list of players and took them out if they're 27 or younger. Because if you're trying to win right now, you don't need it on a 1-year deal, but it makes it easier to trade for. And 2, you're not trying to have anybody there for the long term. So like 25, 26. My cutoff was 27. I feel like that's pretty good. I took out players due to positions. So like I said, they either need a pitcher or like a DH that can play the outfield. So those are the only positions I kept. And then I took out all the players if they're bad, because obviously if you're trying to be buyers, you're not trying to get bad players. So my cutoff for the pitchers was if they had an ERA over 450, that's an automatic cutoff. For contact hitters, so like if they're going for a leadoff bat under 250 average, I cut them off. And then if they're going for a power bat under 10 home runs, I cut them off. And last thing, if they're not on an active roster, I also cut them off. So like if they're in the minor leagues, they're not on the list. So with that being said, we're going to go through every team, and I'm going to give you all the players, but then we're going to deep dive into the best player on each team that I think would be a good fit for the Blue Jays. So let's go. All right, so we're going to get right into it. Teams we're going to start off with are the Red Sox and the Orioles, just because they are the Blue Jays' AL East rivals, so I do not expect them to make a trade with us. But if they were willing to make a trade with us, these are the players that I think they would give us, okay? First up for the Orioles, we got Tomoyuki Sugano. We got Cedric Mullins, Gregory Soto, Ramon Laureano, Keegan Aiken, and Brian Baker. And the one I want to talk about is Cedric Mullins, okay? So like I said, probably not going to give us Cedric Mullins because we're the AL East rival, and why would they want to help us win? But he'd be a pretty good addition to the team. It's not a secret that Blue Jays have been struggling to hit home runs. They've kind of been on a roll with that lately, but Cedric Mullins having 12 home runs, average is not good, but the 12 home runs is what I really like about Cedric Mullins, and I think he'd bring a good power to this team. 707 OPS, does not really get on base, does not hit for average, but he can hit home runs, and that's what the Blue Jays need at the moment. Next team is the Boston Red Sox. All right, we got Aroldis Chapman, we got Justin Wilson, Rob Refsnyder, and Greg Weissert. And the player we're talking about is, of course, Aroldis Chapman. Now, Aroldis Chapman, 37 years old. Everyone on this list that we're going to talk about is on a 1-year deal. He's freaking phenomenal at the moment, okay? Like I said, AL East rival. The Red Sox might not even sell if their season turns around, but they kind of already started selling with Rafael Devers, but we all know him in the front office did not have the best relationship. He's a closer, so maybe Jeff Hoffman moves back to the setup role and he feels more comfortable because Jeff Hoffman's been like not good lately. So maybe that happens. He gets 14 saves on the year in 36 games, 48 strikeouts in 33 innings, which is freaking phenomenal. 3-2 record with a 1.36 ERA and a 0.82 whip. This guy's been freaking phenomenal. His past 15 games, he has a 0.64 ERA, bro. Like, this guy is insane. 22 Ks in 14 innings. Like I said, those are the two teams that probably not won't trade this, but it would be interesting to see. Next team, I got the worst team in all of baseball, the Colorado Rockies, all right? So I already didn't have a lot of players for the Rockies to begin with, and then once I went down the route of are they good or not, it basically just erased everybody off the list because the Rockies are on pace for the worst season in baseball history, and the only player I could find that might be good for the Toronto Blue Jays is pitcher Jimmy Herget, all right? He's got a 3.02 ERA in 28 games, 30 strikeouts in 41 innings with a whip of 1.32. Last 15 games, he's got a 3.7 ERA. It's kind of sad how this is the only guy that I could find on the Colorado Rockies. So yeah, that's exciting. Let's see, what team we got next? The Nationals. The Nationals also only have two players, you know what I'm saying? Kyle Finnegan and Alex Call. With how good Kyle Finnegan is doing, the main person I want to talk about here is Alex Call. This guy, in my opinion, would be the perfect leadoff man, all right? Alex Call's got a 275 average with a 377 on base and a 763 OPS with 17 RBIs, 2 bombs, and 42 hits in 153 ABs. All right, this guy, in his last 15 games, he's batting average of 302. This guy's been going crazy, all right? He'd be the perfect leadoff guy for the Toronto Blue Jays if they're trying to go that route, and I'd love to see him on the team. But I don't think I'd be comfortable giving up anyone on a 26-man roster. Like I said, they're probably not going to do that. I would definitely try and finesse them, try and trade some lower tier prospects for this guy. And Ross Atkins would cook with that. Next team, we got the Kansas City Royals, all right? For the Kansas City Royals, we have 3 players this time. We got John Schreiber, Daniel Lynch, and Lucas Urkeg. And that's what we're going to talk about, Lucas Urkeg. Out of the 3 pitchers, this is the best pitcher. That's why we're talking about him, all right? He's got a 2.12 ERA in 30 games. 1 save, but he's not a closer. 30 innings, 23 strikeouts with a whip of 1.01. Last 15, he does have an ERA of 3.31, but that means he's locked in, all right? He's locked in because over his last 7 games, he's an ERA of 2.35. Hopefully, if we trade for him, he can figure it out over here. He can continue to figure it out because he'd be a very welcoming addition to this bullpen. And I'd see him probably a middle reliever, kind of like where Chad Green is. Next team we're going to talk about is the Oakland Athletics. All right, so I got Sean Newcomb and Michael Kelly for the Oakland Athletics. Michael Kelly has actually only pitched 1 game, so we're going to talk about Sean Newcomb instead. He's got a 3.55 ERA, so not too shabby. In 58 innings pitched, he's 54 strikeouts with a whip of 1.61. Again, most of these relief pitchers we're going to see today are pretty mid, and that's because the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen has locked in, which means they have a lot of good bullpen players, and they only really need like 1 more mid guy in case like injuries come along or people start to become bad. Another reason is that these are bad teams for a reason. They don't got a lot of good people. All right, Sean Newcomb is the best reliever I could find on the Oakland Athletics with a 3.55 ERA. He's their best reliever with a 3.55 ERA. You know how crazy that is? That's pretty crazy. But over here, he'd be in the mix for like middle relief, long relief appearances, which is what we need at the trade deadline. Let's move on to the next team, all right? We got the White Sox. But yeah, the White Sox have got Mike Tauchman, Steven Wilson, Tyler Gilbert, Adrian Hauser, and Dan Altavilla. And the player we're going to talk about today is Steven Wilson. And we're going to talk about Steven Wilson because this is actually one of the people, like one of the top 3, I'd say, that would be really good for the Toronto Blue Jays, okay? He's got a 2-1 record, but that doesn't really matter. 1.73 ERA. Beautiful. In 27 games, he's 1 save, so not a closer, but that's okay. 26 innings pitched, 25 strikeouts with a whip of 1.19. And in the last 15 games, ladies and gentlemen, he's an ERA of 1.32. I mean, Steven Wilson has been going crazy halfway through the 2025 season, and I think he'd be a perfect addition to the Toronto Blue Jays to help them make the playoff push and avoid the wild card, because he can be a setup guy and help the bullpen. I really like this guy, I really do. If there's anyone on this list besides the last guy we're gonna talk about, I'd want this guy on my team. I said it, sue me, I don't really care. We're gonna talk about the Marlins next. The Marlins actually have 5 people, so that's what's up. We're starting to get down to the last 3 teams. This is the final 3 teams. We got the Marlins, we got the Pirates, then we got the Braves. We're gonna talk about last. All right, so the 5 players I have for the Miami Marlins are Anthony Bednar, Calvin Fauché, Dane Myers, Lake Backer, and Jason Junk. The one player we're going to talk about, though, is probably the second player I want to trade for on this list. Actually, Aroldis Chapman might be top 3, but they're probably not going to give us Aroldis Chapman. So in their terms of reality, this guy's number 2. The other guy was number 3, Dane Myers. He has been going crazy in the first half of the season. All right, the 2025 regular season stats for Dane Myers. In 165 ABs, he scored 19 runs, 50 hits, 4 homers, 20 ribbies, so this would be a leadoff guy. 11 stolen bases, so he's fast. 303 batting average, 354 on base, and a 778 OPS. I mean, what more do you want in a leadoff guy, all right? Last 15 games, he's a batting average of just under 300. I mean, this guy has been going crazy, and he'd be the perfect addition. Now, I do think to get this guy, we would need to give up someone on the 26-man roster, just because there's still some young guys that the Marlins may want, like a Class A, like a Wagner. Maybe Schneider, but Straw or Lucas they wouldn't take, I don't think. But Dane Myers, if Ross Atkins could get it done, I'd absolutely love to see him on the team. We're down to the 2 last teams. We got the Pittsburgh Pirates. So the players I got for the Pirates, we just got a pretty good amount of players on this list. We got David Bednar, Andrew McCutchen, Caleb Ferguson, Bailey Falter, Chase Shugart, and Isaac Mattson. Isaac Mattson we would be talking about because he's a 1.84 ERA, but he's only pitched 14 innings, and I don't feel like that's a good enough sample size. So instead, we're going to be talking about Andrew McCutchen. If you want to talk about a good all-around hitter, then you got to talk about Andrew McCutchen, bro. He may not be a really good hitter at one thing, but if you want to talk about 68 hits, 8 home runs, 28 RBIs with a 263 average. So he's got kind of like a mid-average with a little bit of pop to him. He's got a 339 on base, so he can get on the base paths. And he's got a 744 OPS. So let's just say he's been going crazy as of late. He want to be my first option, but if you got him on the team, wouldn't be too mad about it. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the Atlanta Braves. So the 3 players I have for the Atlanta Braves include Dylan Lee, Grant Holmes, and the number 1 player that I think Ross Atkins should go out and make a trade for is none other Marcell Ozuna. All right, that's who we're going to be talking about to end the video, because that is who I think would be the best fit for the Toronto Blue Jays. They literally have him listed as a designated hitter on MLB.com. He does not hit for average, but he does have 11 bombs with 70 hits. Okay, his average isn't too shabby either for a power bat with just under 250 at a 249. Okay, he is 34, but if you're trying to win right now, this is the guy you're going to get, all right? Like I said, 249 average with a 377 on base, which means he'd be drawing in his walks. He has a 779 OPS. In his last 7 games, he has 5 walks. How many walks? You know what? I'm checking something. He's got 58 walks on the season, which isn't too far back from his career high 74. And he's played 79 games. You know how insane that is? Power bat that can get on base. And we all know our team is insane with runners in scoring position. So this is the guy you go on and get if you're Ross Atkins and the Toronto Blue Jays. But that's my list. Let me know players you would get that aren't on my list and if you would change anything. I think I did a pretty good job. This took me a while to do, so please make sure you like and subscribe for all the work that your boy did. And if you enjoyed this video. And with that being said, it's been your boy Brandon. I break down the Jays. I'll see you next time. Peace.